If you've ever joined them to say that a specific political party is what's it called, the devil, like that's the bad one, while the other is good, or the people that belong to this side, they're the great ones. What's it called? I just want you to know that this video is specifically made for you. Hi, my name is Ajibola Oladiipo, and you're welcome to another beautiful episode of Diary of a Patriot. Today, we will be discussing what it means when we talk about, we would actually be talking about political parties. We will be discussing the roles of political parties. Why exactly do political parties exist? What exactly is their main function? Why do you think ideology, or why do we think, or why do you, or why do I think that ideology is important in the formation and membership of a political party? Is ideology even important? Does it get to shape governance? And what role do political parties play specifically? The truth of the matter, by experience, and when I mean experience, I mean our history, we can take a very clear, a very holistic look at what it has been like from 1999 till date. And I hate to agree with those who have consistently say that political parties are actually vehicles to gain power. Oh yes, that's actually what they are. That's what they've been, you know. I think the first person I heard, or the first person I would hear actually say something like that is a former governor of your state, the late Otumba Christopher Debayala Wakala, who was saying that there's no this or that, anybody can be in the party, and was talking about how that political parties are just vehicles. We are everywhere. We are mixed, and it's actually the truth of the matter. It's actually correct. And whatever ideals or the supposed picture that I have in mind, that many people will probably subscribe to my school of thoughts, that ideology is also sort of like important in political parties. It's just a sad reality that we currently have to live with. But hopefully, I really hope and desire and also pray that a time will come where there would really be a very clear and distinct ideological differences between political parties. But now, where we currently are, political parties exist as vehicles to gain power. But then, come to think of it, you know how we say that, when we hear power, when you hear people talk about power, when you see people say one or two things about power, or they say something about grabbing power, or you hear a older person saying that, oh, power is not served a la carte, you have to take it, you grab it, you run with it, and stuff like that. The truth of the matter is, all of that is even like possible because political parties exist. Let's think of it this way. Imagine, you see how chaotic you probably think electioneering processes are, so many things that happens within the logistics of having to plan and execute an election. Like, you can imagine how chaotic it is. So now imagine, no, you don't even need to imagine how chaotic it is. We see how not very smooth it is. So yeah, maybe chaotic. So imagine what it would be like if political parties do not exist, where there are no vehicles to for candidates. Everybody can just do their stuff. Imagine political parties don't get to organize primaries, and everyone can just do whatever they want to do. Maybe each presidential elections, maybe we'll have like 500 candidates, or maybe 1,000. And well, maybe it would even be broader because political parties make rules and stricter conditions on how they get to select their candidates, which automatically screens out a lot of people. So imagine it's on screen. Just see how chaotic that in itself is going to be. That's to let you see how much of work political parties get to. do. They play a very crucial role. They do a whole lot. They have like an important thing to do. And yes, in ensuring that we deliver or we in ensuring that we actually enjoy the dividends of democracy, political parties have a crucial role to play. More importantly, to ensure that their people get into power. Political parties actually have a crucial role to play in ensuring that their people get into power and in ensuring that governance is not fragmental. Here is why structure and leadership and direction is very, very important. And the more reason why political parties intensify their role as a vehicle to gain power, just to primarily to ensure that governance is not fragmental. Imagine you are an executive governor, and you don't even have majority in the house. I think we even had something pretty close to that in Oyo sometimes, where the party in power, that was Governor Abiola Ajimobi's first tenure, his party in power did not actually have what you would call the simple majority. They had to join with other, we had, I think, the Accord faction, you had the Labour Party faction, you belong to the Action Congress faction, you had the People's Democratic Party. So he had to join forces and sort of like align with people, of other political parties to ensure that they have, and then of course they had to share leadership of the legislative house. But the whole essence of that was to ensure that governance is not frustrated and is not fragmental. So you can imagine if everything is done haphazardly or there's no coherence. And again, this is me making a case for political ideology. If there's ideology, you know that your leanings and your thoughts tend to move towards a particular direction. You guys tend to think alike. So you guys are likely to make or argue for specific policies in some direction, and that sort of like makes it easier, and that makes life beautiful. Like it's easier. So it's not like you're saying this and your actions, just because of the political party you belong, is saying otherwise. You get. Without ideology, I strongly believe that political parties are like a ship without a compass. So imagine you are on a cruise ship, moving from somewhere in Port of Sydney, Canada, and you just want to spend the next 2-3 months like cruising and just having fun, only for you to realize that the ship is without a compass. It means you are going nowhere. We should actually be in a position where we have guiding principles that inform our policies. What informs your policies? What gives your policy direction? You understand? So those guiding principles in itself should actually be at the fore. That should be what informs what kind of policies we push when in power or when your political party is in power. But then it's sad that we've had to experience defection. Someone is in, for instance, you can have, I'll use Alhaji Abubakar as an example. In 1999 to 2006, Alhaji Abubakar was a member of the People's Democratic Party. By 2016 to 2007 general elections, he jumped ship. He was already a member of the Action Congress because he wanted to contest in the 2007 general elections. Beyond that, after that, he didn't even stay there. Interestingly, he went back to the PDP, and before you know it, in the 2015, by 2012, 2013, actually, he was already part of the major conversations. He was a member of the All Progressives Congress by 2015. To interest you to know that by 2019, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar was already a member of the People's Democratic Party. He kept switching political parties. I talked about Alawakala earlier, who was first a member of the People's Democratic Party. At some point, he was a member of the Labour Party. Then at some point, he moved to the ADP, and then he died being a member of the All Progressives Congress. But then I'm just trying to let you see how that switching allegiance or party membership from one place to the other, that defection in itself makes it very fluid and almost impossible for you to know what people specifically stand for. People switch for political convenience and survival, and not primarily because of principle, not because of ideology, not because of what they believe, but because of principles. Well, that's one of the things that we actually have to grapple with, and we sincerely have to find a solution to. But while we still deal with all of those, we need to like think future forward and start thinking of how we can reform many of these houses, these political parties, and try to see how things can be better and what people know what people stand for. You know, in the early days, in the days of some of our leaders, those who went ahead of us, you could tell where I can easily always use like Western region as an example. We knew what people like Obafemi Awolowo stood for. It would interest you to know that Nnamdi Azikiwe was at the forefront in the NCNC, but he actually had staunch people that strongly believed in his principles and ideologies in that very same West where Obafemi Awolowo was. One of his ardent followers was Adegoke Adelabo, the Kwenkele that everyone gets to know, and grandfather to the current Minister for Power. He was an ardent follower of Zik. He believed in Zik's ideas as again and ideals as against to the Bafemi Awolowo. So they never saw eye to eye when it comes to principle or what they stood for or ideology. But yes, that's to show like where we're coming from and where we currently are. It's a journey, but I just hope that we're able to bounce back. And the reason why this is, I know that I'm spending so much to talk about this, and the reason is because ideology helps to achieve consistency. And when I say consistency in the sense that, oh, you know that if another candidate from your party should emerge, you know you can tell the kind of policies or the kind of projects or the kind of action items or the kind of principles or policies or actions that they will take, because you know your party in itself stands for something, so you guys are consistent. And sometimes it also helps the people know what to expect. So in a situation where people are not getting what they specifically want, then they can decide to vote somewhere else, because they can actually predict your political party. Then, oh, this is not what we want. We want that. So I think we are done with this. Let's switch to that side. So that's I think that should be that on the ideology parts of the formation of political parties. So let's dovetail and move back into what exactly political parties, what their main functions are. So I want you to think of a political party like a football team, beyond the skillful tiki taka, that you probably see the beautiful football we saw from Barcelona. Yeah, yeah, or very beautiful, fluid game. The defense and the goalkeeper making sure that you don't score a goal. You the midfielders working so hard and strikers ensuring that they score the goal. The whole essence of that team working together is to ensure that they win. Number one, the defense line is to ensure they do not concede goals, while the attacking side is to ensure they score as many goals as possible, irrespective of who they are facing. So, again, one very core objective or one very core mandate of a political party is to secure government control. You don't want to produce, as a political party, you don't want to produce an executive governor or president that can be waylaid by the legislature, or your legislature is entirely opposition. You definitely do not want something like that. And as a result of that, you have to be up and running. That's why your defense mechanism has to be uptight to ensure you do not concede. And Any opportunity you have to strike, you strike as fast as possible and as hot as you can. So, yes, because at the end of the day, remember, political parties exist to grab power. So, whatsoever internal mechanism that happens or whatever they're pushing, trust me, all of that is marketing. The whole essence is for them to be in control. That's why political parties exist. So it's now left to you, the voter, to decide whose what's it called, whose messaging and whose actions actually align with what you desire for yourself. To start with, political parties or activities that surround political parties does not start, and it literally does not start when it's electioneering time. Prior to electioneering process, there's so many things that happen at ward levels. You have the ward level, beyond ward level, you have also at the local government level, you have the senatorial district level, just that very constituency way. Even at the unit level, you have leadership, and these people meet as often as possible. And the whole essence or the whole reason is to ensure that they stay in touch with people. They ensure that they have their party office established in all of these places so that people can familiarize themselves with it. You know, when you mention some political parties, you can literally think of you passing by somewhere and seeing the party logo. That's because over the years, these people have maintained the office structure there or an office space there, branded in their logo, in their colors, and then it's actually always or most times open. People come around and all sorts of things happen. Number one, they try to ensure that and communicate to people that, oh, I am actually with you. That's their means of identifying with people. That's their means of ensuring that they associate with people, they see basic needs of people, try to meet it, and so that they can actually curry their favor and make people be in their debt. Yes. So, but beyond that, they meet periodically, have conversations. Again, I know ideology is coming up again, but again, what kind of conversations happen in political meetings? The quality of conversations or the quality of debates that would happen in this meeting can never be outside the scope of what the people in those meetings can offer. So, what can these people actually offer us? Who are those that are members of political parties? Do you think that you can actually contribute something better? If you can, why are you not a member of a political party? Why do you not associate or belong to a political party? Conversations, I remember I was having a conversation with one of my big brothers, and I was complaining to him about an incident that happened where, sometimes you come for political meetings like at what level, and all that happens apart from maybe some disciplinary issues that they probably have to look into, or maybe there's rift of interest. All that you now do is banter and use songs, you don't understand, to send message to the other party. And I was saying to my big brother that I think this thing is becoming worrisome for me, because I think that we should begin to, have conversations that will literally make the party have a very strong stance. Do you understand? If the government of the day is of your political party, you should be able to have conversations, robust conversations around it, that makes it easier for you as a political party to find the loopholes in your own policy and find ways to ensure that the government of the day strengthen whatsoever it is they are working on execution, to ensure that the dividends of democracy is actually delivered. That's to let you see how much that needs to be done. So yes, political parties, and as a matter of fact, if you belong to the opposition, you should be able to like look at it and have robust conversation, and from there let rejoinders start flying here and there. Not just propaganda, proper rejoinders to how these things cannot work. The president has said he wants to do this and that, and these and these and these and these are the reasons why this cannot work. We have come to this conclusion because as we have similar line of thoughts, we've looked through these things, or we've even had like other dissenting views, and we've come to this conclusion. And as a party, we have a stand. This is our stance concerning this. That's a formidable opposition. Like that's how to do opposition. I think that's actually how we should do opposition. That's how we should hold the government in power accountable. And so, as an opposition party, this is something we also owe people. And as a party in power, also, we also owe our party and the people, because our country should actually come first. And we also owe the party which we are actually flying their flag. We owe them that responsibility of ensuring that we make sure they do well, and we should actually be like a very good representative. So in Obafemi Awolowo's political family, so to speak, they have an interesting way of selecting their candidates. You get to see where it sort of seems like the older person takes precedence and leadership of the party, and then it changes and moves that way. So that order of succession, and the leader of the party is likely to be the candidate. Something similar to what you have in someone like Omoyele Shore's party, where he's sort of like the leader of the party and also the candidate. So something sort of, but then each political party gets to like define, and I think it's good that each political party gets to define how they get to select their candidates. What is more important is that there is internal democracy within political parties. So after selection of candidates that the political party thinks or strongly believes will win election for them, the next thing political parties do is mobilization of voters. Remember that across these communities, they already have they have their people that they want to they sort of like seemingly probably owe them, or people within their network of influence, people that in some cases within the whims of their beck and call of leaders of those parties across those levels, either at unit or word, so those things in itself, that in itself is probably not probably that in itself is what makes up the structure for electioneering process. So they activate that and then ensure that there's a direct chain of command. You have a different leadership at unit level. At the ward level, you have a different leadership. At the local government level, you have a different leadership. You have another at the senatorial level, up to the national level, and that way, after the senatorial level, of course, there's a state level as well. So that in itself sort of like help them aggregate how to mobilize voters, ensure that if there's a specific instruction, then they help people to carry that instruction and go with it. Yes, ultimately, every political party is there to win. Like I said earlier, it's a vehicle to gain power. And when you gain power, you want to be involved in the formation of government. So that's why you see that the cabinet of any administration is always beyond even the leadership of what's it called, of a political party in the legislative arm of government. If you have the majority, the party would have who they think is their favorite to be the leader. In case of National Assembly, they have people they will prefer to be Senate President and Speaker of the House of Representatives. At state level, they have preference for who they want to be, and also at local government level, who they want to be the Speaker of either the local government council or the State House of Assembly. But beyond that, that's to let you know that the party has a role to play in the formation of governments. You have nomination, you have different like power blocks or interest groups that were actually involved in the whole electioneering process and ensuring that the party gained victory. You want to ensure that no parties are aggrieved or their grievances is still something within control, something that you can easily tame. Because again, you cannot have a vehicle move if the tire is at fault, or the engine is faulty, or maybe if everything is functional and then your windscreen is broken. You know, you don't want it to rain when your car is without a windscreen. So that's why you have to ensure that all of those other components of those blocks within the party are catered for. Opposition and accountability. If you lose out, for instance, you have to be on your toes to ensure that you make the government of the day accountable. As a political party, it's a major function and responsibility. It's something you should do. It's what you owe the country, it's what you owe your party, it's what you owe the members of your political parties. And the reason is this: number one, you are making people see your political party as an alternative, so to speak. This government is doing this, you can see the outcomes, they are doing nonsense. But here we are, this is what we're trying to say. An example, well, it doesn't necessarily mean that that's what you're going to do, although ideally it should actually be that that's what you should do. I use an example. In 2012, the whole Occupy Nigeria protests, at the forefront of that protests were people who said subsidies should not go. Interestingly, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu was one of those. But then it was under his administration that subsidy had to go. And interestingly, we had no opposition, even within what's called the opposition parties. But how were they able to make Nigerians buy into the idea that subsidy shouldn't go? Whatsoever tactics it is, we can agree and disagree and debate on how that is done, or how that shouldn't be done. But more importantly is you holding the government of the day to account. So as opposition party, when they lose election, it doesn't end there. They get to hold the government of the day accountable as well. I was saying something about how that you gather people, ensure you have to socialize, keep that cycle moving. It's not only during elections. Make sure that people see your party, familiarize with people. When you're talking political party, when you mention broom, what party comes to your mind? When I mention umbrella, you think of something else. When I say papa, mama, pikin, something else comes to your mind. Those are political, like there's something they literally stand for. If I mention white horse, there's something that comes to your mind. Why? That's because over the years, there's a political socialization that has occurred. And beyond that, they constantly engage people just to make sure that, and the whole essence of this is pure marketing. We are the better ones, don't mind those guys, don't go for them, we are the better ones. And to be very honest, I think the whole, okay, let me not say anything. Another important and crucial part of it is financing. Financing election is not being so, like, it runs into billions, and it doesn't come cheap. And beyond that as well, you have to mobilize people to actually get things done. You need to get money to do that. You need to, for instance, personally, during elections, I'm always on ground in my word. And beyond just being on ground, one of the things you would find me do is engage people. There's a situation where when I say engage people, interact with them, be very sure they are going to participate and vote. You want to be sure that they are going to vote for who they are going to vote for. If they are undecided, you want to make them see reasons as to why they should vote for your candidates. In some cases, you have situations where people are staying far away from wherever they probably would cast their votes. You probably would want to make arrangements for them to ensure that they're in the best position and the best place to actually cast the ballots, so that you do not lose that vote. You want to encourage those kind of people. And when I mean encourage, is like you make them see why they need to put in effort, make them see that, this is about your future, this is this is that. The number of people that by myself, I took it upon myself as a personal responsibility to see that they actually registered to vote and that they voted. So, so imagine a political party, I'm a leader. Imagine I'm a political leader. I'm a leader in my political party, maybe at the unit or what level. It means that I would actually have to, I'm calling people and having to do that. I have to do that on a larger scale. I'll spend money doing that. The party has to account for all of those things. And you actually have to finance all of those things. You run media ads, you engage people, print media. Election is expensive. That's the honest truth, and you can't do it alone. You need to ensure the structure around it. Interesting thing about membership of political parties is the fact that there's a financial part to it. There's a financial commitment that people make to their political party as well. That's such a beautiful and marvelous thing when I actually get to see that people put their resources. So if you they put their resources, they put all that they have into the political party and say, "Oh, I believe in this cause," and that's why when you see some of them disagree vehemently, it's always or they get aggrieved. It's always looking like to the extreme. So these are core things that a political party do. Those are core responsibilities. Those are so many things they're doing. But as it is, we need to definitely make progress, and there's some things that I think needs to be addressed in our political parties going forward. Number one, the fact that there's some sort of like a weak internal democracy. When the internal democracy is strengthened within our political parties, automatically we'll have the best of candidates thrown to us. They are not just going to give us any candidates and expect things, because the best of the best would actually put their feet forward. They will convince the electorates and would actually have the best of the candidates. So now I know that in the words of Baba Obasanjo himself, he was saying something about that. The best candidate does not necessarily have to win, of course. But if we have some of the greatest, because democracy in itself is a game of numbers, but then if we have some of the finest candidates on the ballots, then there is actually hope for us. The lack of clear ideological difference, the lack of clear ideological direction. Until we actually have clear ideological direction, we might not make as much progress as we ought to. So we probably would need to look into that, reinvent the wheel, and the separation needs to begin. We don't necessarily have to operate a two-party system just like the United States or some other countries. Yeah, we can have a multi-party system, but then we should know what different parties stand for. There should be an ideological direction that distinguishes political parties. Lack of open government. Governance has to be very, very open, even within the political party. That way, we would also attract bright minds, and see that politics is not just for the crude. You can actually get involved, and at the end of the day, it will be for national good. And again, I think the last point I would actually talk about is campaign financing. That way, we're very transparent about how we finance elections. We can sort of like make progress. We see how much we spend on elections, how we can be more cost effective, and that way people can also sort of like see value for what they're using money to do. And yes, I think if we follow some of this approach, I actually believe that our political parties will do better in playing their roles in ensuring that we have a stronger, a more formidable, and better democracy in Nigeria. I'll see you next time. Bye.